What's up, Mortgage Coach community? Dave Savage coming to you live from Portland, Oregon. And I am going to have a chat with Ben Teerlink, the founder and CEO of Mobility RE Market Intelligence. I'm a customer of his. We use a product called MMI, Mortgage Market Intelligence. And I just want to have a chat with him in public around how mortgage professionals can turn data into not only opportunities, but better relationships. You know, there's some ways that we've used his data that I think is super powerful. It's helping us get better adoption of our technology. It's helping us build better relationships with people that are influencers. And I've seen a lot of my customers and a lot of lenders and loan officers using this data in a way that I think is super smart. So Ben, welcome to the Mortgage Coach community, brother.
Hey, thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure to jump on and chat with you. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. So first of all, why don't you just introduce yourself to the community? It's the first time I've interviewed you, while some of the executives listening to this and some leaders who are customers of you, they know you, but for those that don't, who are you and what do you do?
Sure, yeah. So Ben Teerlink, and started Mobility RE about 11 years ago. And really, you know, our whole kind of product at that point was, hey, we keep hearing frustration from realtors and from loan officers that, you know, their clients are going to Zillow and Redfin, Trulia, Realtor.com to search for houses, and they're clicking on competitors, and our lenders and our realtors are losing their clients to the competition. And so, you know, clear back 11 years ago, before, you know, the iPhone was even out, we started creating these co-branded tools, home search apps, and other ways that agents and, you know, the brokers could essentially give that to their client, use it, not lose their clients to the competition, build a relationship with their lender, and do that. So had a lot of traction and success with that, but then realized, you know, 9 years later, hey, we think we can really help our lenders with some additional things here, and that is gathering all this data and letting them know, hey, these are the agents that you want to talk to. These are the brokerages that there are opportunities in. And so, you know, that is a quick background of, you know, we started with the one product, grew that, built a lot of relationships with agents and brokerages, as well as lenders, and then created the MMI product and rolled that out for the last little bit. So that's kind of what we've been up to. But what we tried to do is take all the data out there and say, look, let's make it useful for you so that you can really be more effective and look for those opportunities. So
let's talk about the data, because I know you have the production of every loan officer in America. You know how many loans they close per month, what the volume is, what type of product it is. You know every realtor, you know, how many listings do they have? How many buyer sales do they have? So why don't you just give us an inventory of all the data that you're collecting? Yeah. And maybe it's so exhaustive you can't give it all, but in the context
Sure.
of this conversation, for like a street level referral-based loan officer who wants to turn data into opportunities and relationships, what's all the data that you're capturing?
Yeah. So, you know, like you said, there's a lot of data out there. And what our goal has been is to take all of it and bring it into one single dashboard so that you can manipulate it and make sense out of it to find those opportunities. And so what we've done is we've reached out and grabbed all of the, as you mentioned, realtor production out there in terms of new listings, who's taking listings, you know, what have they sold over the last, you know, period of time, you know, how many deals are they doing, who are they working with in terms of which lenders are they working with on their buyers. We also bring in the lender production, as you mentioned, so that you can see every mortgage company, all of their LOs, what their production is. And what was really pretty cool is once we brought both of those, you know, data sets in and we started kind of going through it, we realized, you know, we can cross-reference that, and we can now say, hey, it looks like the relationship with this realtor is that he likes to send deals to this loan officer. And hey, this loan officer seems to have a pretty good in with this real estate brokerage. And so, you know, really a lot of data and information that is gathered from, you know, a whole bunch of sources that's out there, it's available. But what I think has been hard for everyone is to then say, how do I take all that and look at it in a way that I can now find opportunities in my local market to, start doing, what's the action item then once I know, hey, here's where my opportunity is. And that's what we've tried to really focus on and help with. So.
Cool. So at some point, I want to have you show folks like how they could, if I live in this market and I want to work with all the realtors that do this volume, how they could use your platform. But before we jump into that, I want to just, and you may know answers to these questions, you may not, but
Sure.
for example, do you know how many loan officers in America do over 100 loans a year or some metric like that? Or how many loan officers did over 20 loans last month? Any data
Sure.
that you have on that?
So we've got a lot of data like that. And it's interesting because, we have those statistics and you can see all those statistics in our dashboard. But, there's so many different factors there, right? And that's what's been kind of fun for us to watch is to say, hey, how many LOs are doing over 100 deals per year? And that number is very different today than it was even 4 months ago, because all of a sudden this huge bump in the last 3-4 months in terms of, hey, they may have been doing this production. Now all of a sudden they just doubled what their normal monthly production is because this huge influx of, or tripled because of this big influx of refis with rates being so good. We see, different markets, are different there. But, and it's things that we can kind of throw out there. But that number of LOs doing that much business has increased. And it's been kind of cool to see also loan amounts and, purchase versus refi, all those factors, have come into play. But it's been really cool to see the trend of where all that's going and how many people are doing that. But then also what's interesting is you look at units is one thing. So over 100 deals, but then you also have to look at the dollar metric. You see someone that's doing 100 units in a California market compared to one where, that average home price might be a third of what it is, in a California market. You see that those dollar volumes can really be pretty amazing too. So you search by either production, transaction number or dollar volume, and it really can tie into your market and be effective that way.
Well, and I also was going to ask you how many realtors are closing over, 2024. Can you give us some numbers? Like, can you either tell us loan officer or realtor, give us some metrics from your data? And if you can't do it now, maybe you can answer it in the chat below.
Yeah. So that's what I'll do is I'll throw some numbers in, to the link, and we'll throw some stuff out there. It varies so much per market that it's hard to say this is how many nationwide are doing this. We can put some stats out there, but it doesn't really give you the picture that would like to paint locally in your market. But I'll throw some metrics out there. And again, you can click on a link that I'll give you after so that in this post, people can click on that and see some of those statistics with agents and also loan officers. Yeah.
Well, you can share your desktop and I don't know how we want to take this. And remember, guys, this is a mastermind. So if you're watching this in the Mortgage Coach Facebook group and you want him to do a search, guys, we've got the man, the founder.
Throw it out there.
We'll do a live search right now. So let's
awesome.
go into a market. Why don't you share your desktop?
Let's do it.
And
let's share it and we'll show.
And I'll I don't have anybody asking for you to do a search in a specific market. Although Aaron Alvarez, I know you're watching, just gave us a little thumbs up. So guys, right now, whether you have his platform or not, you could get a search done in your market. And for those of you that are using the MMI platform, I would love to know how you're using it. We're using this to improve adoption of Mortgage Coach because we can look at a company, who the top producers are, know their production. So Aaron Alvarez is in Phoenix. So let's go to Phoenix. And I know he's a top producing loan officer. Let's pull up some of the top realtors in Phoenix. And Aaron, if you want to get more specific with a zip code or a city, bring it.
Awesome. So here's what we do. We go into the real estate section. We do exactly that. We say, we want to see the top ranking realtors, and we'll go county, state. So let me just type a few of these things in here. So let's go Arizona. Then we'd say, all right, in Arizona, we're going to go Maricopa County. Unless we want to do something different, but
No, let's do
a lot
Maricopa.
going on in Maricopa.
That's a good one.
Yep. And then what we can do is break it down 2 different ways, and adding a third one that you'll see probably tomorrow. And that is, you can say, show me all the agents doing production, ranking from the top, down in a city specific, or we can go volume. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's just keep it on a county level and say, you know what, show me every realtor in Maricopa County doing over 8 million in volume.
That's
so
annually.
We hit search. Yep, that's annually. And then the other thing that we're adding is by unit. So what you'll be able to say is, show me anyone that's doing 24 deals at minimum per year in that county. So you can see here, 176 different realtors that are doing over 8 million in volume right in Maricopa County.
So by the way, time out.
Yeah,
I see Jason Mitchell is at the top, guys. I interviewed Jason last week. He's doing just some very interesting things. Be sure to check out the interview with Jason Mitchell. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it is. And he is at the top of the list. Now on his buy side count, 174 deals for 60 million in production. And then, what's really pretty cool is, you can see 176, you can see all of them. You can now sort by dollar volume or count. So if you said, well, just show us by, transaction count, we can sort the list that way and see, or you can adjust it and sort by dollar volume.
So let's drill down. Let's drill down and see what, like, in a specific agent, you could pick Jason or someone else, whoever you want to pick.
Sure. Yeah, let's look at Jason, and let's break this down so that you can kind of see how that works. So you click into the agent, and then you're able to see, all right, so Jason, obviously doing a whole lot of production. We'll break it down to say, here's how much on the buy side, here's how much on the list side. And then what we like to do is, show you on top of that, then where that business is going. So you can see Nathan, big fan of Jason. Looks like we show about 35 transactions that they've worked together on. So essentially 35 loans that Nathan's received. Mm-hmm.
So Jason has a really unique model, guys, in the fact that he is a realtor for lenders. So those are consumer direct lenders that are giving him the referral. So lenders, so very unique model. You know what? Jason's probably not a good example because his model is so innovative and unique.
Sure.
He's like Quicken's largest realtor. So Quicken Loans refers him a lot of business. Let's go to someone else. Let's go to the person right below him in production, because that's a more typical agent.
Right. So let's go to Karen over at KW. So now you look at Karen and her breakdown. Now you can see, here's Karen, here's what she's doing. Did 149 buy-side deals. And then you can see the breakdown to see, all right, Timothy seems to be the go-to, but she has a couple of LOs that she sends quite a bit of business to. So you can kind of see the breakdown of, here's where that business is going. Here's what, they're doing. And, it really gives you the ability to see what's happening on, the agent level and where they like to send that business. But then what's interesting too, and we won't spend too much time on this, is to say, well, wait a minute, show me, what's going on with this particular loan officer that they're sending business to. You click in there and then you get the breakdown of, all right, here's what that LO is doing, and here's where their deals are coming from. Here's all their realtor partners. But, we'll go back to, Karen, the realtor, and let you look at this. There's some really, pretty powerful things that we've been able to do in here, and that is tracking a realtor now. And by tracking a realtor, that's going to notify you of any of their activity. So you can say, hey, I want to be notified anytime Karen takes a new listing now, because I'm going to create single property page. I'm going to create a co-branded brochure. I'm going to create a home search app. And I'm going to reach out to them, have a good conversation, and show them some of these things that we can do to build business together. And now you're being notified anytime they take that. So it's a perfect trigger to reach out to them, have the conversation. And we've seen it to be really effective, that maybe you didn't even know Karen was doing that much business in that area. Now you're aware, and you can start some action items. And even the CRM push feature now allows you to just push them right into your existing CRM. So you can do whatever drip campaigns or whatever it might be, try to engage with that agent and build the relationship and get more business there.
So guys, my goal is that anybody that tunes into the Mortgage Coach community and everybody that is a member of ours is smarter and has a competitive advantage. And so this data is out there. There are lenders that are taking this data and they're building it into their platforms. There are lots of lenders and loan officers that subscribed directly through Ben. I don't know that Ben has competitors, but I'm sure there are. Well, I know there are people that are competitors,
Sure.
and I know people that want to be competitors because this data is out there. This is powerful. Every loan in America is in a database, and what every loan officer in America does is in a database. What every realtor does is in a database. So how do you leverage it to be more successful? How do you leverage it to be more effective? What are some of your best practices when you have a company sign up?
I do.
You roll out? What do you tell people to do?
So here's what we found. Obviously everyone's benefiting right now from extremely low rates, and it's awesome, and everyone's closing a bunch of deals. But at some point that, levels out, and you got to rely back on that, purchase business and those realtor relationships. And so what we found with this is, people will roll it out and they'll say, all right, I'm going to go into the market and I'm going to narrow it to kind of the area that I really focus in or would like to focus in that's, near where you're, maybe you live or maybe near where your office is. And you say, I'm going to find the top 25 realtors in this area. And I'm going to go in, I'm going to look at them, and I'm going to see where that business may be going, what relationships they may have. But I'm going to bring them in, I'm going to do a drip campaign, I'm going to be tracking them and notified when they take new listings. And I'm going to make it a point to reach out to those top 25 in this specific area that I work with. And, are you going to land a relationship with all 25? No, the odds are, maybe 3, 4, 5 of those that you start actually kind of connecting with. But we've found that those that will do that and stick with that, and then 3 months later go in, do it again. Maybe it's the second batch of 25, maybe it's 25 through 50, and you start doing the same thing. And you just start reaching out to these agents and building that relationship, showing how you can help them. And before you know it, you have, if you do that for 3 quarters in a row, now you have maybe 3 agents you generate out of each of those batches. So now you have 9 agents that are sending you a deal a month, a deal every other month. And all of a sudden you have 9 new potential deals every month. That's significant. I mean, that changes someone's production a lot. And, we're seeing people do that. We're seeing a lot of success with it. And, that's one thing that we would really recommend is you come in, you find those, you reach out to them, you create the tools that are in here to then interact with them. And it's working. Another thing I'll show you just quickly that is so effective is our wallet share report. And what this really helps you with is it says, hey, LO, these are all the realtors you've worked with in the last 12 months. And then what it will do is say, this is how many deals you did with that realtor, but this is how many deals that realtor did in total. So it kind of gives you this percentage over here to say, hey, you thought you were getting all their business, but you're only getting 20% of their business. And then you can see, where is that other business going? Okay, they're sending it to this person. Well, I need to now try to build that. And what I'm going to do is track them. Now I'm going to create some cool products. We're going to work together and see if I can get more of that market share. Or, for those that, want to, they can say, well, maybe I should recruit someone to my team, and that'd be a quick way to get some additional business. But this market, and wallet share report has been so helpful because so many times you may not realize, this is a good example, that you did a deal with this realtor. Well, this realtor did 264 buy-side deals. And now you've got a, relationships, you close the deal, reach out to them. If you could just get a small portion of that business. So that wallet share report, I think, is another thing to just look at, see who you've done deals with, and then find where there's more opportunity and reach out and create the tools and products to have a conversation with them. So those are some of the things that we've seen to be really most effective for an LO just on a day-to-day basis.
I love it. I love it. So guys, we only had a half hour scheduled for this, and I wanted to start the conversation of how do we turn data into opportunities and better relationships. So Ben, you mentioned a link that you're going to give folks. What's that link, and where's that going to go? And maybe you could just show it to us right now, so I even know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So basically, what the link is, and it's really to come back to our main landing page, so that you can request more information or data, whether it's in a market specific or yours. So really, it's just our mmi.run page. I will give you that URL, because there's a little hash after that, so they'll just click on it from there, and that'll take them in where you can request more info in your market specific. You can request a quick demonstration of the product and platform, but also some statistics and data, just like we did, to say what are the top LOs, what are the top realtors doing in this market, which I think are pretty cool stats for you guys to see. So I'll push that link over to you so that people can inquire on that.
So let's stop sharing the screen real quick.
You bet.
I wanted to introduce y'all to the fact that this data is here. Aaron Alvarez is like, why don't I have this? He literally put that. and I just think my job at Mortgage Coach is to make our community the most successful, most productive, most valuable loan officers to families. And I do think this data is a piece to the puzzle. That modern mortgage originators deliver advice. Modern mortgage originators have good data and they use it. They don't use their CRM weekly. They don't use it daily. They use it hourly. And they keep data in that. So any stats or facts that you can answer in today's call before we wrap it up? Is there just anything that you think loan officers would want to know?
I do, and here's the thing that here's some stats, some real numbers here, and that is that right now the median list price is up. It's up close to 8-9% from what it was a year ago. So even with everything that's going on, the price is up 8% on a national level. The other stat that I find really pretty interesting is the days on market is shrinking. So that's coming down a bit there. So homes are moving really pretty quickly. You see some markets that have a little bit higher end, home. Those are still, 60, 70, days on market. But we're seeing a lot of other markets that are record lows at, 15, 20 days on market. And that takes into account for the bad house that isn't going to sell. The others are selling immediately with a whole bunch of offers on it. But the other thing that I think is interesting is that the inventory is way, way down. And so there's not a whole lot to pick from. We see anywhere in the ballpark of down 30% or so from where it was a year ago. But rates are incredible. And so what that's doing, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen in the last couple of days some of the reports that have come out on this, but it's making the affordability better than it has been in quite some time. There are, I think, 20, 30 different markets where the affordability is better now than it's been in 20, 25 years. There are other, bigger cities where prices are still pretty high. It's still better now than it's been in the last 2-3 years. And that's because rates are low and, the homes are still fairly affordable, but they're much more now because of rates. And that's why we're seeing homes go so fast on the purchase side and your inventory is low. So it's creating some unique opportunities.
Can you tell if whether FSBOs are up or not? And do you have any for sale by owner data?
So, we really, a lot of the for sale by owner data is difficult for us. What we see is most of the time properties that hit a market and are, actively, being marketed there, we can show it on the, side of the loan officers that are closing the transactions there, and that home was not on the market. We haven't really put any reports together on the for sale by owner based on the lender closing it. But, it is kind of an interesting thing to look at with, are those moving as quick? Are there more of them or less? We haven't really jumped into that in too much detail because we don't get it on the list side, but we do on the lender side, which has a little lag because we have to wait for the counties to report and update those. But as we get those, we'll throw some stats out for you.
Well, I have had multiple loan officers recently telling me that they're working for sale by owner strategy. So I thought that's interesting. And then I don't suppose there's any way you can tell whether a home sells and it's a move up, where it's a family that owned a home and bought a home, or whether it was a first time home buyer. Like you can't delineate that.
We have some data. The thing that's difficult with that is depending on who was on title initially and who was on title on the next one can vary a little bit. You might have where people buy a home together and it was only one person on the initial house. So that person looks like a first-time home buyer, even though they're just now buying the second home, but they're going in with maybe a spouse or someone else. So it's a little bit hard for us to give exact numbers on that, but there's some ways to manipulate it there. And again, we can always go through that in detail with people to say, hey, what is it specific that you're trying to get here? Here's a report that may kick out what you're looking for.
So I want to show something on my screen real quick. This was from a must-watch interview that I did on Tuesday. And if you're part of the mortgage coach community, you haven't watched this interview, it's a must-watch. I mean, it's already almost 500 views. It's called Going Beyond the Mortgage Transaction with Amber Kovark. Check it out. I'll put a link down below. But here is a trend that I'm seeing where she's saying that a lot of the people that she talks to about refis, they want a different home. They've been in quarantine in that home for 4 months and they're like, I want a bigger bedroom. I want a bigger kitchen. I want more space. I want a view. This particular story is a family that wanted an extra bedroom. They had a new kid, and currently their house is worth $436. She could have refied them. Like it started with, hey, we want to refi, and she could have lowered their monthly payment to $322. But she said, well, hey, let's look at what moving up would look like. And if you put 5% down and bought a new home, your payment would go up $500. So almost $100,000 more home, $500 more in payment. Or you could buy that new home, and when you sell that home, you could use the $125,000 and recast your mortgage and get a lower mortgage, and your payment would actually go down. So it's refi versus move up. Now, guys, here's where this story gets crazy. Is she said, hey, what if you bought the new home, and you put $125,000 because they have a lot of equity, and you put $125,000 in the bank. Look at this. This is a situation where it's refi and improve your net worth by $3,000 over 15 years, or refi, buy a bigger home, put money in the bank, and have almost $1 million in net worth. So a huge opportunity here, guys. So I am seeing a lot of loan officers do this. This was Amber. This was another $100 million producer I interviewed a few weeks ago, Brian Morley, out of Baltimore. Did the same thing, did a move up analysis with a client. So guys, data is opportunity. I highly recommend you get to know Ben and you take him up on his link. And I highly recommend that you start asking clients about, hey, do you want to move up? What do you think appreciation rates are going to be? What do you think rates are going to do? And then you do a move up analysis for them. You turn data into opportunity. What do you think about that one, Ben?
No, I think it's incredible. And I think it's so true, and we've heard that a lot, that as so many people are sitting at home, working from home, they are saying, you know what, it'd be really nice if we had a bigger room here, or if we had, that yard that could do this for us, or, and they're wanting to move up and they're thinking about it. And so, being able to do the total cost analysis and show them, hey, here's what a move up would look like. Here's what this would be. It's on people's mind. They're thinking about it. Another thing that, we've thrown into this that's been effective is kind of to monitor your previous clients, that if they decide to throw their house on the market, you'd like to know that. So you can reach out and make sure that you get in front of whatever that next purchase is. And so, we've thrown that into our intelligence that, I don't know that anyone has better coverage in terms of new listings, and we're able to track your previous clients and let you know if they list, so you can have that conversation and now show them the benefits of, here's that equity that you could take out, here's what you can buy now, and here's how you're going to save on your monthly payment, and you're going to have this much equity. It's just a very cool conversation to have with someone and show your value, that you're helping them make good decisions that's going to set them up, to be in a better house and have, more wealth and more equity. It's pretty cool.
Dig it. So Mortgage Coach community, if you're watching this on Facebook, I put a few links in comments. Ben's going to put a link to learn more about his platform. If you're watching this in YouTube, we have show notes. So right down below, there's a little place where we can put some show notes. I'll put my links and Ben's links in there. Ben, if anybody wants to reach out to you, just what's the website and what's your email or social media way to reach out to you?
Yeah, so do this. Send an email to support at mmi.run. So that would be support at mmi.run. You can also reach out to sales at mmi.run if you're interested in the product. So again, support or sales at MMI for Mobility Market Intelligence .run. And, that way we can get back with you, get you some insights and details. And then also we'll throw out that link that will give you kind of the quick, registration for some additional demos and ways that you can kind of look in your market to see what's going on and inquire on, having access to everything there. But we'll get those to you.
So I'm going to close out with Mortgage Coach community. How are you taking data and turning that into opportunities and better relationships? And put links down below if you're, you've got some local providers, you're getting something from your title company. I want to know all the ways that you do it. I mean, I'm a customer of Ben's. I like Ben. I've met Ben a few times. Cool dude. And I've got a lot of my customers that use his platform and say incredible things about it. But what are you doing to turn data into opportunities? And if you're not, you're not being a modern mortgage professional. This is what modern mortgage professionals do. They use data, they use technology. They're fintech enabled. So, I mean, the same data that drives a Quicken, the same data that drives a Zillow, you can have. You can be a fintech enabled mortgage professionals. You just need to have, you gotta have a relationship with Mortgage Coach, gotta have a CRM. And I do believe, guys, you gotta have a data provider like MMI if you wanna compete in the world of tomorrow. Ben, any final thoughts before we wrap it up, dude?
I appreciate you letting me jump on here. As always, it's great having conversations with you. With everything that you know and what you do, I'm always honored to be on with you. And I couldn't agree more that wherever it is that you can get the data, whether it's from us or other sources as well, you need to get that data and you need to use it to your advantage to look for opportunities. But then not only look for that opportunity, you got to have the next thing in place, which is then you got to act on it. It's one thing to know about it, but you got to put that action into, getting in touch with them and making it happen so that you start increasing your transactions. So, that's key. Find out the info, then jump on that opportunity and close a bunch of additional deals and build a bunch of extra relationships. So that's what I'd leave it at, is make it happen. And if we can help you, we're here. So thanks.
Thanks, Ben. So if you got value from this, give us a like, whatever channel you're in. If you're watching this on YouTube, like it. Managers, make sure that your loan officers know about the data, have the data. And I like his closing thoughts. Like, what good is the data if you're not acting on the data, if you're not building it into your CRM? So hopefully you got value. This call is a wrap. Take care, everybody. And Ben, I look forward to having you on the Mortgage Coach community again one day.
Awesome. Sounds great.